All right, I'm back up, guys. My apologies. My apologies. I had to set it up a little different so that I could get Howard G back on. You might want to go out and can you share me out, baby? Share you out? Yeah, share me out. Put you on the track. No, don't. Anyway, we don't talk like that. All right. As y'all can see, I'm out, I'm back. I'm back up, man. But I wanted to while I had Howard G available, man. I wanted to get him on and talk to him. Like I say, he's a really cool guy, man. He has some amazing cigar products. He's a black entrepreneur, and again, man, real stand-up dude that I really, really dig. Here we go. I got him right here. All right. With no further ado, I got the man himself, the founder and owner of Howard G Cigars, man. Thank you, Howard, for joining me. I appreciate you coming on, man. On, I would say short notice, but this is really no notice.
What's up, Rocky?
Can you speak? Hold on, let me turn my volume up just a little. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're real low.
I am. Hold on. Let me go to my. Let me go to. See, can I get my audio a little better? All right. What about now, Howard? Can you hear me better?
You're still low, but I can hear you a little bit. I just mute my TV behind me, so.
Hold on. What about now?
Same thing. Nothing really changed.
Hold on. I'll fix it. I'll fix it right quick. All right. Hey, can, hey, baby. Can you go on the side anyway? Can you just go on the side of the bed and give me those headphones where I can? Oh, I got them right here. Hold on. Don't worry about it. I know I can hear you better. What about now? Can you hear me?
It's all the same, but as long as you can hear me, I can.
Oh yeah, I can hear you, bro. I can hear you. You sound
You
loud
can
and
hear me
clear, man.
good.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see why can I hear you good? Hold on 1 second. Let me see.
You got earpods or something like that? You probably if you put your earpods in or earphones or whatever. I appreciate you guys jumping on, man. You guys, we didn't have this plan, so we didn't do a sound check or anything like that before we brought Howard on. So we're trying to get him on. Hopefully, you guys can hear us just fine. If you can hear us just fine, just hit one. If you can hear me just fine, tap one in the comments. Put one in the comments.
Rocky, I'm gonna switch to my other phone.
You gonna come back?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch to my other phone. Hold
Okay,
on 1 second.
just drop off. Okay. All right, Howard is gonna get his. Huh? He couldn't hear me, baby. You can't have a conversation if he can't hear me. But anyway. But yeah, Howard is gonna be right back. All right, Gerald and Fonzo. I know y'all can hear me just fine, but Howard's gonna come right back, man. And let me get my sit. Let me get this fire back up good. Yeah, man. But again, if y'all wondering what I'm smoking the Black Moses from Howard G Cigars. The Black Moses from Howard G Cigars. All right, Howard, man. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you better now.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound kind of your volume sound kind of distorted. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you better on this phone, actually.
Hey, hold on, let me see something. All right. What is that you smoking, Howard?
Smoking a magic stick, Habano.
Oh, you smoking the Magic Stick Habano. All right. So, Howard, like I was telling everybody earlier, right? Uh, my wife um, had actually became familiar with your brand prior to me coming to PCA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to get you guys in our inventory or whatever, and for whatever reason, um, we were having trouble connecting and hooking up and getting actually the cigars in. But when we went to, my wife sent me to PCA specifically to find you so we could place an order and get your products in stock. Uh, And so I had the fortunate experience of sitting down and talking with you and also Ike and Leon, man. And it was an amazing experience for me. I not only learned about your brand, but I learned so much about the cigar business in general. Even on the retail side, you introduced me into uh, to some great people in the cigar business, man. And I thought you were a really cool dude and had an interesting story of actually how you got in the cigar business, man. You mind sharing that with our followers and our customers and letting us kind of tell us how you actually got in the cigar business in and of itself?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, first of all, I got to give a shout out to Miss Keisha. Yeah, you're right. She definitely made sure you came and saw us, and we appreciate that. We I believe Keisha found out about us through either the preacher man or my guy Mr. Lester, who's a good buddy of mine here in Orlando. Really good guy, and I had a pleasure to having a conversation with her, and for a while, and we were both on the same page about what we did other than cigars, just business, life, and things like that. And one of the first things she said, to me, she goes, "You're a Cowboy fan?" I said, "Absolutely." She said, "Well, you and my husband are getting along real good because he's a Cowboy fan." Yeah, but as far as the cigars, I've been smoking cigars a little over 13 years. Um, I'm based out of Orlando, Florida, and one of the craziest things is when I first started smoking cigars, I was always told in the business world, they say, a lot of business deals go down either on the golf course or on, at the cigar bars. And for me, God didn't bless me to be good at golf. I think the only person I can swing a golf ball better than is Charles Barkley, but other than that, um, just meeting people at the cigar bar was really, really great. And being here in Orlando, I got the opportunity to go and hang out at a place called Corona Cigars. And they're like a TAA store here in, Central Florida where they have a lot of products. I mean, it's a plethora of products all across in the different stores. And so being a young guy, I came and it's just hanging out, and I was in there with my little suits and everything like that. But over the years, I've made some amazing connections as well as some amazing um, friends and people that's in the industry all over. And what stuck out the most with me was I met a legend, a cigar legend, who I consider on the Mount Rushmore of cigar making, and that was the legend Mr. Avo Uvizian, where I used to smoke with him a couple times a week in Orlando. And he took a liking to me because I'm a musician as just like he was. I'm actually a drummer, a pretty good drummer, but Alvo was a pianist for Frank Sinatra. You know, he wrote the song "Strangers in the Night" and some other hits like that. And I met him in his later years, where and he took a liking to me, like I said, and we would hang out and smoke cigars,
Yep.
a few times a week. And it got to the point he would call me and say, "Howie, where are you at? Are you at your office still?" I'm like, "Yeah." I called him Papa, so I'm like, "Yeah, Papa." He's like, "Come over and smoke with us at Corona. I'm waiting on you." And so one of the neat things he did is, when he first met people, you come in there, you got your little cigar, you hang it out, and he goes, "What is this that you're smoking?" And at this time, he's like 85 years old. So you're eager to say, "I'm smoking this," or whatever. He'll grab it and drop it on the ground politely, and then step on it and say, "Oops," and then reach in his bag and say, "Here, try an Avo." And so that stuck with me because I thought it was so smooth. And then from there, just hanging out with him on every day, or I would say 4 times a week. We would throw parties for him when he would come out with limited edition cigar boxes from his 86th, 87th, 88th, always to his 90th birthday. We were doing that. And one day we were just sitting out, just me and him outside of Corona, and he leaned over to me. He goes, "Howie," he says, "you should be in the cigar business." So I started looking around like he was talking to somebody else. And I was like, "You talking to me, Papa?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, why do you say that?" And he told me, he said, "You love the people like I love the people." And it really touched me. I was like, it kind of hit me like a blindside. And I said, "Wow." Well, a year after that, he passed away. And we had his celebration of life outside of Corona Cigar in Sand Lake in Orlando. And one of the neat things that I take out of that is that we ended up, well, he sold the company to Davidoff. So what Davidoff did was they put, everything Davidoff do is plush, you know. And so they put out a big white tents and white couches, and they had like a 200 square foot uh, 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 screen, and everybody just hung out and
I can't hear.
had stories about Avo and things like that. And we went from there. But that nugget he dropped in me is the first time I ever thought about actually being in the cigar business. I thought it was like, maybe it's a divine intervention or something. Um, so we fast forward that to another year later after his death, and one of my best friends, we're both mutual cowboy fans, lives in Miami. His name is Alex. Whenever he comes to Orlando, he's pretty much at my house, and we will move around. The same thing happens when I go to Miami a lot. And he comes to Orlando and he says, "Let's get together." And he came, meet me at Corona. But it took me about 20 minutes to get to him because it was packed, and I was talking to everybody. And by the time I got over there to him, he goes, "Dude, you're the mayor here." And I was like, "Yeah, they say that, but I'm just Howie." And he says, "You ever thought about making a cigar?" And honestly, Rocky, that's when that light bulb went off that Avo told me. And then I mentioned it to him. I said, "Listen, my papa Avo told me this prior to him passing." And Alex says, "Well, we do own a pretty nice sized factory in Nicaragua where, we produce about 8 to 10 million cigars a year." And he's like, being my friend and knowing the fact that how the industry and stuff like that, he's like, if you want to get something started, we can make it happen easily. So my main thing was I wanted to make sure that I had premium tobacco, because a lot of things happen in this industry where you have people that they're just grabbing a cigar and throwing a label on it, and they're like, "Hey, we're in the cigar business," where it's not actual factual. So I wanted to do something like go to Nicaragua, look at the different tobaccos the company had and things like that. And once we put that together, we came out with the Black Moses line, which was originally was the Black Moses Maduro and the Black Moses Limited were the first two. And then I needed something that was going to be not a little bit less price point than my Black Moses line, and that's when I came out with the Magic Stick, which was a Cameroon wrapper, and then the one I'm smoking now, which is the Habano. And so, can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
Okay.
you just fine. Yeah, I
Okay.
hear you. Go
So
ahead. Just keep. I'm
so
bringing you in.
so after that, we I went with the All Pro series. Now the All Pro series, my friends, I have a lot of friends that are athletes and retired athletes, and some of my friends are still athletes currently. But I really wanted to come out with an All Pro series, and with my All Pro series, meaning I wanted to take some actual legends in their craft, but also make a cigar for them. Meaning, not just make a cigar and put a wrapper on it and all that, and turn around and say, "Hey, this is your cigar." I wanted them to be a part of the process, which also gets their education as well. And so the first one was, Leon Cersei that you was talking about. And like I remember from PCA, man, you were hanging out there, sitting down with Leon, and you smoked that Leon Cersei All Pro Series, and just the fact, that it's a great cigar. But if people don't know, Leon was a three-time national champion for the Miami Hurricanes, and he was also Coach Bill Cowher's very first draft pick in 1992. He was an 11th pick in the draft. And so, if anybody that's a football fan that understands, how serious football is, Leon's coach was Jimmy Johnson in Miami, and Jimmy Johnson was with the Cowboys at the time, and the Cowboys was going to pick Leon with the 14th pick in the draft. And they even had a Cowboy representative in his house with a jersey with 73 on the back, and it said Cersei. And so Leon was just sitting there relaxing, thinking he was going to be a Cowboy. Uh, his agent was doing the working out the numbers and things like that. And when the eighth pick came, he gets a phone call, and it's Coach Bill Cowher from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he says, "Leon, we know the Cowboys want you at 14, but the Steelers want to make you their pick at 11." And so what ended up happening is the Steelers grabbed Leon with the 11th pick in the 1992 draft, which was Bill Cowher's very first ever draft pick, and that was super cool. And then Leon became a uh, a Pittsburgh Steeler, and after his first 4 years with them, then he became at that time the highest paid offensive lineman when he went to the Jaguars, where he ended up being a top 14 Jaguar of all time. So he was the first athlete that I made a cigar for. But my whole uh, thing was I wanted to make a cigar that was specifically Leon's favorite. So we went through a whole process of different cigars. I took copious notes, but I made sure that the cigars did not have labels on them or anything, just to get Leon's notes from every stick that we were smoking. And I made him slow down and smoke them and taste them. Not just smoke the smoke, but to smoke to find out what he liked. And once we looked at everything after we went through over 20 plus different type of cigars, we found out what was the best blend that he liked. And so we put together that 8.25 by 60 ring
Big
gauge
stick.
for Leon because he was known to give a punch. He was known to give a punch. Anybody that knows football and was offense and had to play against him in the offensive line, they knew that Leon had a punch. And so we wanted to make a stick that gave a punch, but also was a very smooth stick. Because when you look at cigars that of that size, and you go and you look into it in depth, you notice that I'm not going to say any other brands, but what happens is a lot of times those cigars don't have the same um, uh, uh, premium tobacco all the way throughout because of the size of it. So a lot of times they have to put other tobacco to wrap it with as well, and as a filler, because that cigar is huge. But we wanted to give them the same premium tobacco that we use in all the other lines. And so, but we're excited because that cigar always sells out. You know, you
It's
have
an
people.
amazing cigar.
It really
Again,
is. It's
one of the, sitting down with you and Ike and Leon, I was able to smoke your entire line of cigars the day that we spent time together. And one thing that I really appreciated is that they all had their distinct flavors and characteristics.
yeah,
But everything I smoked was extremely smooth and had a very, what I would call, an elite finish to them, meaning that none of them left a bite or a tar flavor in your mouth. They always had a smooth, elegant finish to it. Is that a staple of not only what you want to bring to the cigar business, but is that what you had in mind when you were blending those cigars?
absolutely. You know this, Rocky, being the fact that you smoke a lot of cigars and you've been in the cigar industry for years. You can smoke the cigar and you can taste the quality or taste the cigar that you feel like it's been rushed and things like that. And one of the things I definitely wanted to make sure is that we followed the protocols from the companies that we I would say that we look up to, if that
Yes.
makes sense. And so, if people ask me, well, Howie, what's your favorite cigar? My favorite cigar is the Padron 80 year. That's my favorite cigar. That's not Cuban. If you ask me what's my favorite Cuban, I'm gonna say the Behike 56.
Oh yeah, yeah. Deep
Yeah,
pockets, deep
right.
pockets for those.
It's 56. But what I love about the Padron 80 years, it's not too often you're not gonna get a bad Padron, man. You're not gonna get a bad Padron. And one of the things I learned, and shout out to George Padron and the Padron family, and another company that I really respect a lot and been blessed to have a really close friendship with is Placencia. And
Okay.
so, and I respect those guys. And one of the things that I learned is that the process that they go through, and the process that they go through, I wanted to have that same process. Meaning, like, I wanted to make sure that from seed to the time it gets into a client's hands, that it went through, over 350 to 400 hands touch the cigar from seed to the time that you smoke it. And here's the reason why. You want to make sure you don't rush things. And a lot of things happen in the industry where if a cigar is considered, a certain price point, they want to just, kind of mass produce it. But once the cigar is rolled, they typically, industry standard is resting the cigar for 21 to 28 days. Now, having a seasoned palate, you can smoke a cigar and still say, man, I taste ammonia in the cigar, or it just tastes like it's not ready yet. And that's one of the things that we did not want with our brand. And so one of the things we did is that we made sure our cigars were aged after they was rolled. We wanted to have them rest for a minimum of 90 to 120 days. And so what happens with that is that you get a consistent smoke, because what would bother me is, I have a cigar that's, been rested 120 days. You smoke it, you fall in love with it, and now you say, this cigar I want to make part of my humidor, and then you order it and get some more, and then that cigar was 30 days age. Even though 30 days is a part of the standard of the industry, it's not what you already was used to. And so one of the things that we prefer to do is to make sure that we keep every single thing in our line, whether it's the Magic Stick, the Black Moses, or the All Pro Series. We want to make sure that it's still rested. So every person that smokes that cigar, whether it's a repeat customer or it's a new customer, they get the same quality that you would expect. Because a lot of companies, I smoke the cigar and I say, man, I like that cigar, but dang, now it's like they rushed it. but you didn't cut my price on it. I still paid full pop. You know what I mean? You didn't cut that, and so that's one of the things we didn't want. And I know earlier I couldn't get on while you was talking, but you mentioned Ike. Ike was the next athlete that I brought on. You know, Ike Taylor, a two-time Super Bowl champion from the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, one of my best friends, and this gentleman, you know, really goes about things the right way. And we did the exact same thing with him. We actually went a little bit more in depth on his cigar more because, you know, we went through 40 different cigars with Ike Taylor. And so we started narrowing them down, narrowing them down, narrowing them down. When we got down to the last five, there's one thing that we realized about Ike's palate is that Ike loves Sumatra wrappers, number one, and he loves medium blend cigars that had a lot of flavor. So what we did with Ike Taylor cigar, and I'm wearing the Ike Taylor one of a kind shirt here, is that we had a 80% Nicaraguan blend, but 20% Lancaster, PA. So, you know, as far as Pittsburgh, you know, Lancaster is not too far from Pittsburgh. So we got tobacco from the Amish, and we blended that in with. It actually was it was Lancaster broadleaf, and so we actually blended that with our Nicaraguan blend for Ike with a Sumatra wrapper with a nice little pigtail, and that created the one of a kind. So that cigar literally gives you a really good, flavorful but medium blend, where the retro hell is beautiful. It's not going to be too strong for you, you know, and that cigar is taking off really well as well for us. So we're just excited, man, just to be in the industry and have the right, um, just the right products, doing it the right way, learning from the actual legends in the industry. And you'll be surprised, Rocky, the amount of people that in the industry that smoke our cigars, and it just it's just a, you know, it makes you feel good because you know you're doing it the right way. You know, and like you said, to being a black brand, you know, a black brand doesn't mean having to shortcut things, if that makes sense. You know what I
I,
mean?
I, and I wanted to talk about that because you've mentioned a few things on here, and I've been struggling with my audio. I've been able to hear you, but hopefully you can hear me now fine. Because a couple things I wanted to touch on, right? One of the things I wanted to touch on is that when you talk about the Placencia family, who you've made partnerships with, these are families that are historically relevant in the cigar industry, right?
Hmm.
And is there a reason why you went off after those partnerships and brought them in as partners in your? And what I mean by partnerships, whether it be manufacturing or growing, why did you choose those families? Because those are well-established families in the cigar business and known worldwide.
Well, I didn't go with Placencia as my tobacco. I went with American Caribbean Cigars, and
Okay,
the
okay,
reason why, because one, like I said, one of my best friends, Alex Menendez is his name. He's actually 50% owner of the factory in Nicaragua. So he was the gentleman that
okay,
um,
okay.
whenever he's in Orlando, we hang out. Whenever I'm in Miami, I hang out with him. So after Avo had passed away, but he already put that seed in my head about getting in the cigar business, Alex was the next
And
individual to bring that up.
Avo is a brand owner. Well, the brand is named after Avo. Is that correct? I've smoked the Avo domain,
Yeah, so
and
Avo cigar, Avo was, like I said, I put Avo on the Mount Rushmore along with Mr. Davidoff, along with Mr. Padron, the father, and as well, and also I would say Mr. Fuente, Arturo Fuente. I would say those four were very instrumental in the cigar world from a standpoint of premium quality cigars, where those brands live, well, are living past these guys' life where, so when you look at it, you have these guys that 3 and 4 generations in the cigar business, in the cigar world, and that's powerful because it was something that was passed down from the grandfather to the father to the sons, and it would continue that way. And so, doing my research and finding out about that, and just my conversations with him, it really let me know, like, man, this is pretty awesome. And so, but having friends that are in the industry that are like vice president, like, Javi Carenza, one of my closest friends, vice president of Placencia, we talk every week. You know, he's very instrumental with the business, um, from a standpoint, not a partner or anything, but just a standpoint of, hey, Howie's my friend. Howie's like a brother to me, and he goes, hi, hey, Howie, this is some of my accounts here that are big players in the industry, and I want them to try your Black Moses, or have a cigar for them and sit down with them, and then from that point, they're like, wow, it's a great cigar, we like it, da 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 da, let us go ahead and do some business with you. And the same thing was happening at PCA, and actually at PCA had a great time. All my guys had a great time. Um, but for us, it was really the meetings after the meetings, Rocky.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
The meetings after the meetings is really when you do business. Especially being a new brand. People don't know you. So I mean, but seeing a company like Placencia or LFD or something like that. Shout out to Javi, shout out to my boy John Carney from LFD. Seeing these guys that their companies, do millions upon millions of dollars just at PCA, to tell some of their top, brands, hey, just at the bar, saying, hey, this is our buddy right here, Howie. He's done everything the right way. We smoke his cigars. We love his cigars. Hey, try a cigar. Then it's just conversation. It's just relationships. So just like what we built. We just had a good time talking, and at the same time, we was like, hey, how can we benefit Slow Burn, cigar company? How can we be a benefit to Slow Burn? And that's the same
And,
thing we say to all our other retail locations.
and I want to say, I want to thank you because you actually made an exception to your order policy for Keisha and I, and I'll always be in debt to you because again, you have you're a boutique brand. However, you're listed in one of the major cigar distributors, retailers in the country. Really, when you talk about Corona cigars, right? You don't have to deal with a small cigar business like us in order to make money. You made an exception for us, and I actually want to thank you for that publicly so that we could get your product in. And we look forward to. We already, we've only been had your product in stock for a couple of weeks, but we've been selling a hell of a lot of it, man. And we look forward to selling a hell of a lot more. And it's because you saw we had a friend, we made a connection with one another. We became friends, and then you said, "Okay, tell me what you can do, and I'll make sure it happens." Because again, one thing about PCA, uh, you got orders out the wazoo. I was there witnessing as people were walking up and meeting your order requirements and your order minimums, and so I know what kind of business you were doing just at PCA. So you didn't have to make that
Oh man, it's okay,
concession
man.
for us.
The number one thing is you're a Cowboy fan, so I mean I can't. One thing, there's a bylaws being a Cowboy fan that that is an oath. You know what I mean? It's like being a Noop or a cow, or,
Yeah.
a Noop or a Q dog or something like that. We got our own fraternity, and this is how about the
Absolutely.
Cowboys fraternity, which we're 5-1 by the way. And
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
but all seriousness is, the great thing about it is, I mean, you have to have some type of precedence for your brand, right? And
Absolutely.
and as you know, it's no easy. It's not a drop in a bucket for PCA. I mean, for God's sakes, they charged me like $800 to move my boxes from to 15 feet away. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I can carry it, or one of my people can carry it. They're like, no, that's our policy. And so, we look at it, as a boutique brand. You're right, with 1,000% a boutique brand. But the amount of money we spent at PCA was more than any other boutique brand there. And so to go to PCA and drop $35,000-$40,000 for a PCA for a boutique brand, that a lot of people don't know around the country, was something we did because we were there for the long haul. So we're letting you know, hey, we're here. One of my favorite slogans I got from a OG. He said, always remember, you might be a slow leak, but you're a steady drip. And so, so we're not in the cigar game to be a fly by night. We're not here for a fad. We're here for a genuine love for the cigar industry and the process that comes with it. I'm not I'm not shortcutting anything. You know, I've had tons of conversations with people, and I'm like, listen, you can get the product, but you're gonna have to get the product on this particular day because of the fact if I call the factory and it's not to our liking, I'm not going to do that because it's not fair to an individual, getting a premium cigar, but they're getting it and it's been only aged for 40 days. Even though the cigar still tastes good at 40 days, I'm not going to do it at 40 days if I prefer it to be between 90 and to 120 days. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. We're doing the cigars for a passion level, not because it's like a dire need where we have to do right then and there. And so we want to build it the right way, And a lot of these companies have been around 20 plus years. You look at the Rocky Patels, you look at the Nick Perdomos, right? These companies have been around a long time. So you're not going to, put a dent in the market in 12 and in 18 months. It's just not going to happen.
Absolutely.
And if you think that you're pretty much naive, it's the process that you have to fall in love with, and that's what we are. We're in love with the process, and so that's what we're doing. Another one of my OG mentors, he always say, "Man, you working your program." I said, "Yes, sir. You just working the program." And but I'm quick to make sure that I get the person what's there. I think about this. When you place your order, I wanted to make sure that you had all your stuff together.
Yeah.
I could have sent you the Black Moses and Magic Stick a while prior to that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted you to have the whole line when you got it together because that's what you ordered. And so
Yes.
now, when you got everything together, everything was properly aged, properly everything done right. So for your consumers of slow burn, they're not getting shorted.
No, they get the. Like I say, one thing I will say, Howard G, is that your products are among the best cigars in the business, right?
Thank you.
And that's no shot at nobody else's cigars. That's no shot at anything else. And I appreciate that being a black business owner as well because, again, we have black boutique brands in, right?
Mhm.
And not to begrudge anybody else. But we've also had, Keisha and I have also had contact with a lot of other brands as well, black and other. And they don't stand up to the quality and consistency of your product. And that's what I really want to let people know is that if you smoke a Black Moses Limited, if you smoke a Black Moses Maduro, a Magic Stick Cameroon, or anything from your All Pro series, you're going to get the same cigar time after time. Again, I'm just really impressed with your knowledge, not only as a blender and a person in the cigar business, but as a businessman. We were sitting down and talking about marketing ideas and how and the marketing you did right there at the booth. You know, I often watch those interviews you did with so many cigar media outlets, and I rewatch them and see them. Not only you know your products, you know each one of your products inside and out, whether it's the Habano, whether it's the Cameroon, whether it's the Black Moses Limited, Black Moses Maduro, or either one of your All Pro series. And so you know your cigars in and out. That's how I know you didn't rush anything to market. You treat them. You have the same familiarity with them as I do with my children. you know you know everything about them, and so I appreciate that. And the cigar community, as they begin to experience Howard G Cigars, they're going to be overwhelmed, and it's going to get to the point, I believe, in the cigar business to where uh, it's not going to be about whether it's a black owned or a boutique brand. It's just going to be one hell of a cigar, and that's what Howard G's going to represent.
But Rocky, but honestly, bro, I agree with you 1,000% on that. And I had to tell myself, I said, listen, don't, you know, look at it from a standpoint. I don't look at. I mean, yes, I'm a black brand. We're a black brand, but I do so much business with all walks of life, and that's what I really loved about the cigar industry. I mean, I tell you this, man. I sit at the table and I have CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, right? Athletes sitting down with me, and then I have some janitors sitting down next to me, right? And then I have some people that are like handymans that smoke cigars that sitting next to me, and nothing ever comes up about what do you do for a living. Nothing comes up about how much money you have. Nothing comes up about any of that. One thing everybody has in common is this love for the leaf. And I personally believe, man, I personally believe in my heart that a lot of stuff and situations and issues in the world could be solved by just having a cigar and having a conversation. But it's because it's something about people that smoke cigars. I have buddies that hate the Cowboys. They hate the Cowboys, right? They despise them. But you know what they do? They say, you know what? I can't stand these Cowboys fans. Well, not you, Howie. Everybody else except you, Howie. And I'm sitting there like, well, what's making me different from any other Cowboy fan? Well, you smoke cigars. You know what I'm saying? So we like you, we know you. And I'm like, all right, I'll take it. But the same thing, politics, everything. You know, I tell you one of the things that a word that I believe in is called empathy, right?
hmm
There's a lot of stuff that somebody might go through, right? I have people, friends that might have, like we just had a thing for we raised some money for a cancer awareness, right? And I personally, don't have any ailments or anything like that, thank God. But I empathize with the people that I know that do. So that word empathy is something that you have to have just in life, just in general.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody went through something, I had some friends that was like, "Hey, Howie, we never went through anything, you know, like we've seen with the whole George Floyd situation. But we just wanted to tell you personally as a friend that we empathize with that situation. And all I could do is give them a hug and say, you know what, I appreciate that. Because I mean, there's really nothing else you can really do, right, bro?
Yeah,
Besides
yeah,
pray,
yeah.
say I will pray for you. But you know what I mean? If a person doesn't know, it's one thing. But if you just say I empathize with you, hey,
You,
there's
you know,
nothing else really you can say.
one of the things that I know personally for me, this right here, this cigar
Mm-hmm.
breaks, tears down walls, tears down barriers, and then it builds a bridge between two men, regardless of where they come from, what they do for a living, or what their belief system is. This is able to tear down a wall and bridge a gap. Now I haven't been able to figure out why, right? Right? But there's a level of humanity that exists among cigar lovers that I don't see in other areas of the world. And so, as you know, as one thing I did realize with PCA is that I met a lot of guys, and they were they were busy. Some, just like the gentleman from Caribbean Cigars. he may have been in a suit and tie at PCA, and on a few days you were casket clean as well in a suit and tie, and then you guys came in dressed more casual, and then there were some guys in overalls and a t-shirt. But everybody in that experience treated each other with such humanity and patience and kindness. It was something really special to see, even today. The political affiliation, their belief systems, none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered is that you were a human being and you also love cigars. And so it was a great experience for me, and I can't wait to go next year. And Keisha's gonna be with me, and she's gonna see what I saw. Because what I saw was, yeah, it was a trade show, true enough, but it was so much more because the meeting after the meeting was absolutely phenomenal each and every night of PCA.
Bro, literally, I did most of my business at the meeting after the meeting. You know, and I'll tell you another reason why. One of my buddies, uh, Salim Habano, he was the when I first met Salim, he was the vice president of sales for Drew Estate, and that was about 9, 10 years ago that I originally met him. And I didn't have a cigar or anything like that in it. The way that I got in me and him connected is we both wore Robert Graham shirts. These little high priced little loud shirts, but it kind of became my uniform. I kind of went over and indulged with it, right? I'm waiting on Robert Graham to give me some stock or something in the company for how much I done bought from him. But, one of the things that, that conversation started with him, and we became really good friends. So even when he left Drew Estate and he went to EP Carrillo as the COO, I had that cigar called the Pledge before it was put on the market. So I
And
already
that's an
had that
award.
cigar.
That's an award-winning cigar.
And it won #1 for 2020.
Yes.
And so he was at PCA, and the I don't believe it wasn't the first night. It was the second night. He was looking for me at the meeting after the meeting at the bar where everybody's at. Well, I was there the first night, and so the second night, I'm somewhere gambling. Me and Ike was on the roulette table,
Mm-hmm.
and what's Cam Newton's brother CJ. We were all on the roulette table, chasing numbers. So that next morning, Rocky, I get there. He was at my booth at 8 o'clock. I got there at 8:30.
Wow.
And when I saw him there, I was like, "What's up, bro? How you doing?" He's like, "I'm disappointed in you." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" He says, "I didn't see you at the meeting after the meeting." I said, "Well, I was there yesterday." He said, "You don't get it." He said, "You need to be there every single night because I was looking forward to you to hand introduce you to some individuals so you can hand some cigars out." And I said, "Man, bro, I'm totally sorry. Why didn't you call me?" And so the next 3 nights, Rocky, you better believe it. Soon as PCA closed at I believe 5:30,
We went right over.
me and the team went to go eat. I went to the room, changed out of a suit, threw my little Robert Graham shirt on and some jeans and some loafers, so my feet didn't hurt as bad no more. And then we went down, and I was there until 4 o'clock in the morning. But you know what? I had a bag full of cigars. And I hung out with him and a couple of my other buddies from other companies that said, "Hey, this guy right here, this is such and such. He has very nice, a few lounges. They do, 6 figures with us. So we want to introduce you to him. So then now you can be able to do business with him." And that hand in hand literally is what really, really helped our business a lot. Really, it really did. And then to see the owner of Corona um, the wife Tanya, which is a really good friend of mine, she came to the booth and and told the people that was there. They knew her when she walked up, and for her to tell those people, she says, Howie has the number one new cigar line in all of our Corona stores, all four of them, including online. He's the number one new brand that's selling. And so just those words from them being the top, I would say, retail locations in the whole state of Florida and top five in the country,
Mm-hmm.
the relationships for me, Rocky, is what really meant the most. And you noticed that because you hung out with us for hours. You didn't
Yeah,
have to. I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
have Slow Burn cigar brand. You need to go and get other. But the fact that you felt at home with us and you connected with us, not just myself, but Leon, Ike, and even my fiance Rachel. Like everybody
Yeah.
was like, man, Rocky, man, he hung out with us. Like he really hung out with us. I mean, I needed to get you. You should have went to dinner with us as much time you spent with us there, man. I would
But
have took care of
yeah,
the bill.
yeah, no, no. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I told Keisha later, right before we closed. I told Keisha this is where I've been sitting. She called me a couple of times, and I was still sitting there with you and Leon and Ike. And she said, "Hey, you need to go somewhere else and pick up a few cigars." And so the last hour, I ran around and picked some cigars up, man. But like I say, man, you guys were amazing. I was very impressed not only with your operation, man, but how y'all treated each and every one of your customers. And as my cousin, who's a huge Steeler fan, right? That's why he take I hate the Cowboys, as you can see the comment on the screen. I I sit down there and I actually told Ike and Leon, I said, I can't front, man. I don't like y'all with a fuck. I'm a Cowboy fan to my heart. I had never met those guys before, but sitting down there talking with them for hours, man, I actually love them guys, and they are super smart guys and super down to earth, man. Leon, man, when you sit down and talk to those guys about cigars, I, I learned that I didn't know much about cigars when I was talking to you. And then from talking to Ike and Leon, I learned that I didn't know much about football either, because those guys have, both of them played 10 plus years in the league.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, Ike played all of his time with Pittsburgh, but but those guys were great, man. And now
I
let
gotta
me
tell you
ask you.
this. I gotta tell you this, bro. Now listen, I'm a diehard cowboy. Cowboy, I bleed it bad. It's bad, and it's never going to change. And but I will say this: I don't hate the Steelers. I do not hate the Steelers. Um, I hate the New York midgets. I hate the E girls and the Washington no name team. I don't like them. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, one thing I have to realize is that number one, most of the people that are connected to me is crazy, but they are Steeler fans. If you look at both of my All Pros, they both were drafted by the Steelers. Ike won 2 Super Bowls. One of the guys that I'm working with, who was a Hall of Famer from Pittsburgh, we're looking at putting him on the line as well coming up, and he's a Hall of Famer. And
Wow.
I'm not gonna say anything besides
Wow.
that.
I
But
was just gonna I was actually gonna get to what you guys got coming up next. But I'm glad you mentioned that. But I also wanted to mention I've been following your social media pretty close ever since I got back from PCA. You actually do a lot of events in Pittsburgh, you know, and I think you've ramped it up since football season, the
yeah,
number of events that you guys have been doing in Pittsburgh. And so I'm sure the support that they give Ike and Leon and Howard G Cigars is amazing, because it's always a huge event. Um, when I check it out on social media, you've been to shops all over the state. Look like.
man, I just literally got back. What's today? So today is Wednesday. So I got back Monday from myself and Ike. Just got back from Houston,
Okay.
and so in Houston we did some events in Houston that went incredible. H Town really showed a lot of love, and The craziest thing though, I'll tell you this, Rocky, is that I have, as a CEO, I have to project for the next 90, 120 days. That's for production of product. That's for boxes. That's for um, the vistas that go inside the boxes. That's everything. And make sure everything's in Nicaragua. And with this COVID situation, where I was getting product every week, it kind of slowed down now to getting it every 2 weeks, and then customs and all that. So I have to I have to now sit down and take everything into consideration, because as the brand is exploding, we're still have to keep it under the same protocol that we want to have. And so I had to realize with myself that back orders was not a problem. I would rather have back orders than to have more product that I can't move, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's not
so,
a back orders ain't a problem when you moving product.
yes,
You're
sir.
absolutely right. Yeah.
But one of the things is, prior to the Houston event, a couple of weeks prior, we did an event in Pittsburgh at Rocky Patel's Burn Lounge in Pittsburgh, and that event was really cool. We did about I think we moved about 100 boxes there during our times there. We even brought out jars. It went so well because with our jars, it doubles the amount of cigars then that comes in the boxes. But then on the side of the jars, they're humidor jars. You can keep them forever. And then we were doing autographs on the side of the jars.
Wow.
So then that was something that people can actually put up in places as well. Um, and it went really well. And I just saw something talk about Dallas. Um, I'm going to be in Dallas for the Cowboys game, but I have to make sure my schedule permits me to, because I've missed 3 games that I wanted to go to because I had cigar events. But I'm going to be doing something in Dallas soon. But right now, this month coming up. See, what happens is the last 2 months of the year is really rough. And the reason why is because it's holiday times, and that's when everybody likes to do events at the stores, and so we're going to be doing some events November the 11th, uh, and that's Corona in Lake Mary, Heathrow, and then we're doing one the 13th in Orlando at Sand Lake, and then Classic Weekend on the 18th, downtown Corona. We're going to be doing one there. Um, and that's going to be partnered with a black-owned liquor brand. I don't know if it's Uncle Nearest or I'm not sure, but that's what's on our schedule for that. As far as December, we have to go back to Vegas because we do have our cigars in Vegas and some casinos, and they have the cigars in some strip clubs too in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Well, hey,
Yes, so it's and so that's going really well for us, but um, we want to hit all the different markets, Rocky, but you know how it is. You have to take the time because you want to get in you don't want to go in and just do an event and leave. I want to be able to visit the other shops as well. We have a nice size presence in Atlanta, now in the DMV, in that DC, Maryland, Virginia area as well. But to the gentleman that or whoever that posted
that
something.
that was my that was my cousin, and that was the Steeler fan, and he was saying he was in uh he lives in Dallas, and he said
Okay.
you ought to do something here out here in November. But yeah, matter of fact, I believe uh you had something that you had to reschedule in August. You had something in August, and then you had to reschedule it. I don't know if it was a supply chain issue or whatever. Uh,
No, what happened is we have a lot of last minute things that are popping up, and some of the people reach out to the athletes directly. You know, people that
oh, okay,
knows
okay,
them,
okay,
and
okay,
and they're
okay.
like, hey, well, we want to have an event here. We want to have an event here, but like I was telling my guys, I was like, I have to make sure all our orders, our pre-orders, that came in prior needs to be fulfilled,
Fear.
because that's the main thing for me, is to make sure that, the people that at PCA, the people that we met after that, and then those orders that even increased from that point. We had people that ordered, 20 boxes, and the boxes moved pretty fast for them, and now the next order was 50 boxes. So I wanted to make sure that when everything was coming in, that it went to the right orders that were already originally placed. Like we have some orders out of Denver, Colorado, and some other places. So with that being the case, I try to, if I can at least have 60 days notice, it's easier to try to accommodate more than when somebody's hitting us up with 2 weeks and wanting to do a certain event.
Yeah, yeah.
Because especially, it's one thing for me to come, it's another thing for me to come with one athlete, it's another thing with me to come to with all three.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean. So, and, I live in Orlando. Ike is in Orlando as well, literally right down the road from me. But Leon is in Jacksonville, and Leon has a radio station
And he
that,
broadcasts the game, doesn't he?
huh?
He either broadcasts the game or broadcasts after he does the post game
Yeah.
show or
So
the
he
pregame
has a
show,
radio
whatever.
station every morning, and then he broadcasts for certain games for Jacksonville. Now, last week they got their first win, but it was in London, so he was still in town in Jacksonville. And then he has a podcast that he does as well. So those things, I have to. And then being, with him being a part of the NFL alumni and a lot of things like that, I have to, check on everybody's schedule to make sure. Now, Ike is different. Ike is sitting back, relaxing, just coaching little league football. That's the main thing that he does. But outside of that, Ike is a little bit more flexible, where we can just get up and go and do an event, or, you know, um, we're going to be doing some parties. Um, we're going to throw some Howard G cigar parties at some millionaire air, air hangars where they fly, they fly the private jets and stuff like that. But we're going to be doing some different things across the country. 2022 is definitely going to be an amazing year for us, and we're forecasting, a really great year. So we're trying to accommodate. And one thing we're so appreciative for is so many people are calling, sending emails, and inviting us to a lot of different things. But for us, we have to make sure that time is spent the the most with where it's going to create the most exposure for us as a brand. So that's why things like TPE is important, PCA, because if you're seriously in the cigar industry and you're not at PCA and you're a manufacturer, that's some of the things that
Yeah,
you're like, huh? Because I mean,
you
yes,
got to be there.
it is a little drop of currency you got to spend, but you have to make money. You have to spend money to make money in business, and especially being a boutique brand, they have a lot of boutique things that go on, but we're focused on just getting in to the right events that can help, um, you know, put us on the right trajectory that we're looking at. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. So let me. I just want to let our customers know, right? Because this is something that I always deal with any cigar brand, right? Is that there are cigar brands that the bigger the brand, the larger the spectrum of products that they produce, right? All right. Do you ever for your products? I put it in the elite class. When you talk about the cigars that you produce, they're all elite cigars, and your price points are reflect that, right? Don't and I appreciate that, right? Do you ever see yourself putting together a budget line or something? What you would say? How would I say? More affordable as a brand that, or you know, or are you afraid that you may have to sacrifice quality in order to do something like that?
So I'll give an example. So our Majestic line is our lowest price point, and the reason that is it's we use on our Majestic line we use 8-year tobacco.
Hmm.
So in the I'm sorry, the Majestic Cameroon, that that is 8-year tobacco, but it's jalapa because jalapa is more known for flavor, but not a lot of strength. So that
Hmm.
Cameroon wrap that we put on that, that's our cigar that I would say is my morning cigar right then and there. Typically, it's my last cigar of the night if I'm hanging out, and I'm home right now, so I have nowhere to go, so I can smoke any of the cigars because I don't have, I have maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe a 25-foot step, and I'm inside my house, right? But when I'm out and about, and you know how it is when you're having a few drinks and you're hanging out, you're socializing. You're like, man, we got an hour left where we're at. Let's get another stick in. That's the Cameroon rap for me.
Hmm.
My
Very
my
nice. Very nice, by the way. Very
Thank you.
nice cigar.
Now I can't make that cigar bigger because if I do, it would take away from the notes and the taste of the Cameroon wrap. It's a very distinctive wrapper, so you don't want to make that too big. But my Habano wrapper, my Habano, that cigar is a little different. It's not the same as the Cameroon with a different wrap. That cigar literally has Ometepe tobacco in it as well. And so anybody that knows Ometepe tobacco out of Nicaragua, they actually have the spiciest tobacco. It's actually the most expensive, but it's the spiciest because there is that's right where they have the volcano, so the soil is more spicier. So if you retro hell with that, it can put tears in your eyes
Hmm.
because if you really can taste the notes, it's something that it gives you on when especially when you retro held it. But it's a very popular stick. Um,
But
but
it's
as to
smooth as
answer your
well. It
question,
has the pepper, but it's also smooth, just you know, as well. Um, uh, I would put it like this: it shouldn't be your first cigar today. I'll just put it like
no, it
the.
shouldn't be the first cigar, not the Habano. But believe it or not, a lot of people that they smoke it, they're like, oh, I like this. I can smoke this. Wherein, if you get it in the Robusto size, we only sell it online. The Robusto size is going to be a 5 by 52, and it's so the smaller the cigar is, the more you're going to really taste the notes inside of it,
Okay.
and it's gonna pack more of a punch, you know, in that particular cigar. Now, to answer your question, the we looked at the price points across the country for premium cigars. And so when you look at a $12 retail stick, I mean, to make this a cigar that's going to be, let's say, $8, we're going to have to cut down the process that we keep it in to make it stay, I would say, 90 or 120 days. That's the big difference. Or and if we do, we have to use a I would say a lesser amount of tobacco. So instead of using, you know, the 8-year age tobacco that's in the Majestic line, the Black Moses line has 10-year age tobacco. We would have to use less amounts of that tobacco and more of tobacco on the line to produce in the fillers, which is what a lot of companies do with bigger cigars. Like let's say like the Lunatic, those 7 by 70s, those 8 by 80s. Those cigars, a lot of times you'll see that they sometimes blow up, and the reason they blow up is because that's not premium tobacco all the way throughout. It's hard to do that and still have a price point at $10.
Yeah. And the one thing I can say about your cigars is that your cigars feel the weight of your cigars represent the size and the weight match. You'll sometimes get your hands on a cigar that is maybe a 56 by a 6 by 56, and it'll be light. You know what I mean? You'll wonder. and then you realize why it burns so fast when you smoke it. All of your cigars are represented with, in my opinion, with the amount of tobacco that coincides with the size. If you put it on a scale, it's going to weigh what it's supposed to weigh as it relates to the actual size. Whereas with some cigars, you'll find that they underpack it, is what I say, in order to keep the price down. In my opinion, you know, they don't put as much tobacco in it, which means they don't. The pack is not as tight. Uh,
Well, I
and
mean,
so,
so what happens is once they're doing a lot of stuff on that level and that amount that they're moving, a lot of times, Rocky, they have to try to be cost effective.
mhm.
And so, you know, like I said, I respect everybody's brand, everything. Especially all the people that's been in the game before me. They kind of paved the way for us, and we're super appreciative of it. But for us, we want to just kind of carve out our own niche, if that makes
Okay,
sense. We look at it
absolutely.
as a piece of pie. I look at when you look at Davidoff, right? Davidoff has built an amazing brand. They built the brand with people that loves Davidoff 24/7. They don't make a lot of cigars that are full body. You notice that. They might have
Yeah.
one on the line.
Hmm.
But what they did was they said, okay, we're going to keep our product at $18. It's going to be the cheapest one, and it's going to go all the way as high as $100
Hmm.
for the Royale. And then they have the
Hmm.
Zeno line and things like that. Now, Davidoff bought two other companies. They
The
bought
Camacho, they bought
Camacho.
Camacho.
So the Camacho line is going to stay in that $8 to $10 price point. So even when there's events, they have a lot of events. They had one recently here in Orlando where they had a bunch of the lines, the companies just giving out cigars. You come by, they have your ticket, you hand that ticket, everybody paid for a certain amount of things. You get a few drinks and stuff like that, and it's a smoke fest, right? Now, the Davidoff ticket, a lot of people were getting lost because they were walking around. They were like, "We don't see Davidoff. We don't see Davidoff," because it didn't say Davidoff. It said Camacho, but you had to hand them the Davidoff ticket, and then they gave you a free Davidoff. I mean, they gave you a free
uh,
Camacho. But
Camacho.
these people were starting to get aggravated because they're like, no, we want Davidoff. A lot of people
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
that
yeah.
Davidoff owns that. So that's their secondary brand that they keep price point at an $8, $9, $10 price point because they know for Davidoff, their price point is going to be, you know, you know, you know, 20
You
bucks and
just
higher.
in other words, you can't just, and this is what I wanted to, just to understand is that you can't put an elite cigar together like the All Pro Series, the Black Moses, or the Magic Stick. You can't build a cigar together and use the quality tobacco that you guys use at a price point of $8 to $10. It's just not possible in the business. You know what I mean? And and that's what I try to explain to customers is that when you smoke a $6, $7, there are great $6, $7 cigars. Don't get me wrong. However, you can't expect it to smoke like a 14, 15, $16 cigar.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean? And once you do smoke a cigar on that level, you will understand from a flavor standpoint, from a construction standpoint, and also just from an overall quality standpoint, why that cigar costs what it costs. You know what I mean? And so, as a lot of our customers, believe it or not, are beginner to intermediate smokers, and I try to bring them in the cigar business, in the cigar game, in a in a affordable, economical fashion. But once you get a taste for the finer things in life, it's really hard to go back. And so that's why, there are a lot of people that will watch this video, watch this live, and want to get out and purchase a Black Moses, purchase a Magic Stick or something from your All Pro series, and it's well worth the price. But absolutely understand when you try to go find something that smokes like a All Pro Series or smokes like a Magic Stick or smokes like a Black Moses, you are in that $15, $16 range no matter what you purchase. Whether it be a
Absolutely.
Davidoff, Padron, or Legal Provider, or anything in that that's going to perform uh, in that line, you're going to be upwards of mid teens, and there's just no way to pick up a $6, $7, $8 cigar and get that same experience. And I just let smokers know that, cigar customers know that, because a lot of times they don't understand what goes into pricing a cigar, and sometimes the cigar brands aren't clear about differentiating premium cigars from just commodity cigars, is what I like to call it, because
You know,
premium
Rocky,
cigar.
a lot has to do with also with the way the industry is now.
Hmm.
So if you're somebody, let's say Rocky Patel, Rocky Patel's been in the industry 25 years, right? So, you know, what Rocky Patel is doing, numbers wise, is absolutely ridiculous. So, with that being the case, you know, he can say from a, I would say, a grandfather in perspective, he can say, listen, I'm going to keep my cigars at $11, $12 or however, but he can keep it that way. But also his buying demand is a lot higher than than a than a boutique brand. I mean, our goal is literally to I would say purchase the factory or into the factory, and so with that being the case, what I've done so far is I just bought a section and grown my tobacco, but my tobacco that from the section that I purchased has is not to the level of the aging yet that we want to use for the line. So I still have to buy the tobacco that's
Yeah,
already aged. So with that being the case, I'm still paying more because I'm paying tobacco that's already been aged for a certain
cultivated.
amount of years,
Yeah, it's been
and I'm, you know
grown.
what I mean, going from that standpoint. Now I can't tell you that when we get to, you know, producing, you know, 100,000 sticks per month, now we might have a ball game change there, right? But you know, from a boutique standpoint, it's a little different. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to never get off of, like I said, and I hate to keep saying the name, but we don't want to get off of what Padron does,
Yes,
which is no matter whether is there any one of their cigars that they use, because they have a great cigar that's the 7,000 series or something like that. They put that through the same system that they put their other cigars as well. So
the
you're gonna get a
80th anniversary or
consistent
whatever.
great smoke at $10, just like you're gonna get a great smoke. Now, it's that $10 smoke is, to me, is not gonna compare to the $35 Padron 80 year or the $27 Padron 46. But that $10 smoke is still great because it's still aged. And I'll tell you this, you take a cigar and you age it for a while, it's gonna smoke a lot better no matter what the cigar is. It can be, you know, a house blend that somebody has, but if you age it long enough and you smoke it, you're gonna be like, damn, this is good stuff. And so a lot of times we've gotten cigars and smoked it and put it in a certain aging, you know, for a while, you know, and then turned around and smoked it and said, man, I didn't like it in the beginning, but man, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but to answer your questions, that's something that we will be looking to do a little further down the road,
Okay.
um, to, you know, to make something that could be a little bit more price effective. But like I said, I think $12 is not too hard. And I've said
No,
this
no, no,
before.
no, no, not at
I've
all.
said this
Not at
before.
all.
If somebody is a $7 to $8, $9 cigar smoker, and that's their everyday stick, I completely understand. I would just say most people get paid on Friday, right? So I say, listen, if your everyday smoke is that $7 or $8 steak, and if you love it, then I love it because you love it, right? But if Friday comes along and you say, you know what, I got a little extra spending money today, I want to step up a little bit, then I would say to try one of the Magic Stick line that's going to be a $12 price point, or try a Black Moses line that'll be a $15 or $16 price point depending on the market, you
Mm-hmm.
know, or try one of the All Pro series that's going to be a $20 price point. But our whole our whole motto with Howard G Cigars is we just want to be a part of your humidor. We don't want you to say, "Oh no, I don't smoke nothing else but Howard G cigar." No, because I still smoke other cigars besides my own cigars. And the reason why is because I'm a cigar smoker. I love cigars. You know,
Absolutely.
you'll be surprised how many. Like I said, a lot of my buddies that are with a lot of different companies, they come in town. Soon as they see me, they hand me some cigars. I'm not. What am I supposed to say? No, I'm gonna still smoke it. I'm gonna put it in the humidor. I'm gonna smoke it. And like I said, I do the same thing with them. And one of the coolest things, I mean, I don't post it on my website or anything, but they'll send me pictures smoking the cigar, and be like, "This is a winner," or I'm paired it with this and stuff like that, and it means a lot, you know. But I will tell you something that you can have an exclusive since you have me on slow burn on your 2022. We do have some other things coming out on the line.
Okay. Okay.
So one of the things that we have coming out is on the Magic Stick line. We have a Magic Stick Connecticut wrap. That
Okay.
cigar is literally amazing. I just got finished smoking one right here. It's extremely flavorful, so it's not going to be a Connecticut wrap that you're going to say, man, it's bland. It's going to be a mild plus, but it will be extremely full of flavor that you would love to smoke any part of the day,
Okay. Okay.
you know.
Okay.
And so for people that only like, stronger cigars, they'll still say, you know what, I can smoke this cigar in the morning, or I can
Well,
smoke this after lunch.
well,
You
because
know,
it's
you
you,
might not
Howard
want to be
G.
the one they're gonna
I,
smoke when they pair it with their beverage of choice, but it's gonna be completely flavorful. And we're gonna do that, Rocky, in two sizes. We're gonna do that in the Toro size, just like we already have, but we're
mhm.
also gonna do that in a Gordo size, which is gonna be a 6x60. So if
Okay.
you like
Now that's
bigger ring
interesting.
gauge, you like to put a punch on it and smoke a little longer, both of those cigars in both those sizes are phenomenal. They're going to be home runs. Another cigar we're going to do in 2022 is the Leon Cersei Little Circe.
Okay.
That big Circe is a big boy, where I've only smoked it one time because I smoked it so it took so long for me to smoke. I was tired of smoking, bro. I was like,
Uh-huh.
man, 3.5 hours, man, I really don't want to smoke no more. And so I like to continue to smoke and have a good time and stuff like that. So that little Circe is going to be um, a little small, a little bit more than half the size of the big Surts. So I would say it's going to be more like a 5x56, 5x58.
That's
Identical
gonna be
same
nice.
cigar as the big Surts. It'll be a little cheaper. It won't be $20 a stick. It'll be less than that. But also, more people will be able to smoke that cigar and put it in their rotation, just like they do with the.
Like I
I
say, the Leon is a absolutely phenomenal cigar, and I strongly suggest at $20, right? You're gonna be able to smoke that cigar, and it's gonna burn cool like you were smoking three
Yeah,
$10 cigars. That's
you're
how
right.
it literally smokes. Like I don't know what technique y'all use to roll that cigar, but how cool and pleasant the smoke is for the entire duration of the smoke. You guys did an amazing job putting that together. I know it's getting late, man, and I don't want to keep you in it much longer, man. But I just want to thank you, Howard, for coming on with me, man. It's been an amazing time. We've been on here an hour and a half plus, and we've probably been 2 hours, considering all the technical difficulties, man. And I want to thank you for jumping on with Slow Burn. Keisha also wanted me to tell you thank you, man. If there's anything you want to leave the people with before you sign off, go ahead, and then we'll wrap it up, man.
I just want to tell you, first of all, thank you, Keisha, for she texted me, and I'm sitting here watching the ball game. So you see, there's been a lot of games on.
Yeah, yeah.
NBA's back, so I got a chance. I got home. I said, I don't feel like going nowhere. Let me just sit back here and smoke my cigars. And I'm drinking an Uncle Nearest here, and I
Oh,
said,
okay.
I said, well, I went through one bottle, so I said, well, I didn't go through one. I'm not an alcoholic, so I had about this much left. So I went through that, and so I said, I'll grab another one to open it up a little bit more. But I've been sitting here watching basketball, and I saw my phone said Facebook, and I clicked on it, and I looked, and Keisha was like, "We're on live, and Rocky smoking a Black Moses. Where you at?" So I instantly replied. I'm like, I'm sitting right here. So yeah, I tell you this, it's a pleasure to be a part of the Slow Burn cigar line, the number one black owned
Black
mobile
on.
cigar line. I love what you guys are doing. You know what I mean, and it's a blessing, man. And so, whatever I can do to support you guys, just let me know. Um, uh, 1 second here. I think the TV think I'm not here. It's gonna cut off on me. Okay, it was good. So, but yeah, that's all. I'm just appreciative for everything, and let me know another time if let's schedule something if you want to get me on again.
Okay.
Just let me know. I have no problems, doing.
Well,
As long
what
as
I
I'm in
tell you what.
town or if I'm available, I have no problem jumping on. If you can find out how, you just send me a link next time like you did this time. I guess this is the easiest way. But
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you soon, man. And also at the
When
what we got? You got TPE is in January. You're going to be in
yeah.
TPE.
Probably so. I'm sure we are. I'm sure we're gonna be there. Also, when you come to Dallas, man, make sure that you look me up or let me know before you come, because I definitely want to hook up with you. I have some friends that own cigar lounges in Dallas, and so I definitely want to hook you up with those guys, and so that you can share your product with them and let them experience the Howard G line of cigars, because it's second to none, man. I'm a big fan, and I can't wait for you to get that Connecticut in as well, bro.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. All the new stuff that comes in, I'll make sure to send you a care package and let you smoke it. Just like if you was at PCA. You know what I mean? And
All right, man, man. All right, my brother. I appreciate everything, man. I look forward to hearing from you.
hey, likewise, bro. Thank you so much for everything.